This is Grimm Grinner on all channels.
Welcome to the waste.
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 Welcome to the wastes.
Welcome to the waste.
Welcome to the waste.
Welcome to the wastes.
Welcome to the waste.
Welcome to the wastes. Good evening, Wasteland. Grimm Grinner here on all channels, screaming through the static. It's been a hot bit since I got to just sit and transmit to all of you out there. Between hunting the pyros and being able to just go back to settlements like Burblack and the like, I've been busier than a feral getting into a food stash. It doesn't help that the bunker has had some extra guests as of late. Jailbreak's been working on outfitting some of the systems here with some better power sources that'll run less risk of rendering me irradiated, while some of the have-nots have been working with Ghost Crash on tracking some new leads on survivors out there. Plus, Jack and Tanner have been getting my help on some scav runs. Turns out Jack is picked up as an independent courier, which has kept him busier than he was when he was a merc. All of that combined with getting caught up with Longshot, as well as checking in with Mama Coog and the folks at Burblack, has kept me from transmitting for a hot bit. All this to say, I have some updates and news for anyone picking up the signal. The biggest news I'm going to kick off with is talking about the newest outpost to open up, not too far from another familiar spot, the Roasted Road. Called the Cap Cache, this new outpost is run by Cola Chris and seems to be a spiritual successor to the animated Broom. Part trading post, part watering hole, and a very strict no creeps policy. Corporate credits can be spent there, but even a hint of trouble is shut down immediately. Proximity to the Roasted Road also helps with keeping this place more secure, and it's the beginning of what I think could be a very substantial kind of like a super outpost or something. In any case, I like to think Praxis would be happy to see more places like this popping up. And knowing there's no corporates allowed makes it an even better spot for me to frequent when I have the funds. Word's also reached my ears that some new camps are starting to form and spring up around the recently reclaimed territory formerly known as the Patch. The desolate drylands that were home to a rather nasty bunch of chemheads was cleared out originally by some corporate agents, but has recently been claimed by some wastelanders hoping to build a new home on that land. Not sure what they plan on doing with it, since nothing's really been able to grow there even before the fall, but power to them, I guess. Also not really sure why the corps even gave a shit about the area either, if I'm being honest. Maybe they wanted to put up a new tower or something, I don't know. Hopefully the folks that have taken that territory are able to keep a hold on it, for whatever reason they've moved in there for. As for the former chemheads that were there, some were unfortunately taken to the GAT, and the rest have moved on, probably setting up somewhere else or joining up with another raider group. In other outpost news, before getting to some smaller updates, the Liquor Box is holding a special casino night to break in their newly scavenged and repurposed games pulled out of the wreckage of an old world casino Leopard found. Buy-in's going to be 100 caps, with the expectation that there'll be a hefty pot at the end. No offense to Laby or anyone else there, but the voice of the waste will sadly not be in attendance for this game night. Between my last poker match there and the game I was involved in a few months back, I'm feeling a touch apprehensive for my own safety with games of chance lately. I'll be happy to transmit about whoever does win, so hopefully someone gets a walkie tune so I can listen. I was told that the event would be happening about a week after Falls Day, so I guess you got a week there, Wastelanders. What? Did you all think I'd forgotten my wastes? Yes, it's Falls Day. The day we all remember hearing the announcements or seeing the news that the bombs were going to be unleashed to try and curb the ferals. Well, most of us remember. There's a lot of us who are too young or born after that wouldn't remember anyways. It's become sort of a weird dichotomy of a day since it happened. What started as an almost mourning and day of remembrance has gradually become almost celebrated for a lot of people. The day it all changed and became this new world for us to rebuild and make our own, make into something, something better than what was before. I mean, I personally have always been a bit torn on how to approach the day, because I do remember how scary the fall was leading up to that point, and how terrified we all were when it happened. And at the same time, I've seen so much hope and beauty and wonderful acts of humanity that I also kind of see it as a time to celebrate. In fact, I think it was about 2 or 3 years ago when I did some celebrating of my own. I think I went on a small run with Jack, Leopard, and I think Snap. Maybe a handful of others. We specifically went after a small corporate outpost with the intent of sending a message to the corporations. God, the flames must have been about 70 feet tall off that place. We managed to take out a couple of the elite creeps there. The lower level agents and I think a couple of others managed to get away, but we were pretty happy with how that went. I think that place is home to a small community of farmers now. They turned it into a greenhouse. We also made it out of there with a nice amount of supplies that helped out some nearby camps, and the remainder made us all some scratch when we sold it through a courier outpost. As for this year, I don't know, I think I might just celebrate a bit. I've been scrolling down some notes in an old notebook that I picked up for a couple tabs in the Lynn last time they passed through. Keeping track of markers, things to keep an eye on, and occasionally writing a bit of poetry. Gotta put some art back out there, is my thinking. So that's why, to kind of celebrate, I'm gonna end this broadcast with a small recording of one such poem I wrote while staring up at the shattered moon the other night. So I'll sign off and get that hooked up for you all to hear, Wasteland. This has been Grimm Grinner on all channels. See you in the wastes. God, now where is that? Where did I put that recorder? Yeah, there it is. I've spent so long wandering out in the wastes, collecting caps and tabs and scars, but better than all of those, I've collected stories. Stories from friends, from enemies, from the dust that consumes everything. I've made stories of my own, of course. When you wander as long as I have, there's bound to be a few. But unlike the stories I tell on a microphone or on a walkie-talkie, screaming into the static and the radiation, I wear mine. I carry them in my pack. I carry them in a little tin in my pocket filled with bottle caps and pop tabs. The time I took a fall while running and busted my wrist left a scar that I can tell a tale about. Or the small badges that line my vest showing where I've been and who I've seen. Or better yet, the laugh lines around my cheeks and eyes. They all tell so many stories. They talk about late nights by a fire, laughing into the sunset. About sharing drinks in a dimly lit outpost. Sharing in the adventures we've had. Hell, they even tell you about the horrors that have happened that I've borne witness to. All of those things are stories worth telling. Whether they were before the fall, during, or after, although I have plenty to tell that happened after. That's why I love wandering this vast land we call the wastes. The stories we can all tell, one day will fill new books with them, I'm sure of it. Want me to tell you one of mine? How should I start? With Once Upon a Time? Or do you want me to pluck something from my tin? Oh yeah, let's do that. So this cap I've got, it all started with a cap, did you know that? Well, that's a different story. This one is about something much more fun. One day, I was wandering around in the wastes. Welcome to The Waste is a Wasteland podcast brought to you by Edward Grimm Grinner Hutchinson, but made possible by Wastelanders like you. If you'd like to support the show in a fun way or get some merch, check me out on Patreon or on Etsy. The links to both of those, as well as all my social media, can be found at linktree.com/welcome to the wastes. See you in the wastes.